Good morning, beloveds. How's everybody doing today? Today is Friday, and so Friday is also the day of Venus. And I just wanted to come on here and remind everyone that there's a subtle difference between being the light and being and reclaiming our divine light and doing different practices that bring in the light. And while bringing in the light is imperative and it's really it's an important step, it's not the same thing as actually stepping in and reclaiming your divinity, your true self, which is your light. And a lot of us aren't really used to really identifying with the light of our soul. And so many times and many practices, we're doing things to bring in the light, to connect with the light, and we still refer to the light as something outside of ourselves. And while the light is outside of ourselves because it's everywhere, it's really the essence, its source, it's what's given, it's what's birthing everything that we see and everything that's in manifestation. The deeper truth is that it's also who you are at your core. It's who we are. And so starting to or continuing to really identify with yourself, ourselves as light, as that consciousness. And so when we're doing practices that are bringing in the light, realizing that that light that's coming in, that cosmic light, and that's all around us, and that we can tune into, I usually tune into as the cosmic womb mother or the great mother of all, which is source, or God, the father, mother, or oneness. So I call it by many different names. And if we start to tune into that light that's all around us so that we can start to feel safe and we can start to open up, that light, that vibration, that frequency comes in, and then it can activate our individuated light. The light that we, even though it's on one level, it's all one, but we each have individuated souls um, with different purposes for being here in this incarnation. And so going and doing the second step of letting that activate our own light and reclaiming our divinity and starting to really step into that wholeheartedly. Because as we, are in these great times of awakening, like I've said many times, and a lot of different people are talking about this whole ascension and great awakening, we are the ones that are here to actually reclaim the light of the planet, reclaim the light within humanity, and really reclaim the divinity in all of on all of these levels. So it's really important to make that distinction and to then even dare to believe that you are carrying that light. And it's a process. So little by little we let go of our small self, we let go of the self um, that has identified with fear, with shame, with judgments, with conditioning patterns, that we've been indoctrinated with. And we start to really understand ourselves and identify ourselves as divine light consciousness in this manifestation of form in our physical body. And leaving that open because we don't really know what that looks like. And the one thing we can hold on to is that looks like love in action. It's like when we ask ourselves, what would love do? It's like that consciousness that is a source is really the consciousness of infinite love and unconditional love, because love is unconditional. As humans, we have placed conditions on it, but that's not the divine love. And so that looks like love. And and so really it's an exploration every day, minute by minute, to really start to feel, well, what does that look like in my life? For me to be and to reclaim that divine love that I am. And I can tell you that it's really that essence, that beloved that we're all looking for, that we're all yearning for in our hearts. It's the beloved essence that we all want to fulfill within our own hearts and live from and merge with. And the irony is that we are that already. And yet, in our consciousness, in our thoughts, and in our emotions, we have separated from it. And we live in that separation because we believe that separation to be there. And that's been part of the indoctrination. And so as we move into even this holiday of Samhain and Halloween, there's a lot of fear that arises, and there's a lot of fear around us anyway, because it has been, just because of all of the chaos that's going on and the injustices in the political system. But we're also now coming into the season, which has been also linked up with satanic and with satanic cults, and it's kind of all enmeshed. And it's important to also start to weave that out and remember that the light is greater than any darkness. The light is greater. And so you have the ability to stay in your light and to stay in love. And one of the ways that we start to slip out of that is almost by being hijacked by our fears and by our anger. And there's a lot of that also going around. And so really noticing when we start to get angry and when we start to lose our center of love, it's like, how can we express our emotions and then also allow ourselves to land back in our true essence of love? So never losing sight, because if we think that we're staying angry to create some kind of justice out there, we're actually creating a separation within ourselves, which prevents us from being in our light and prevents us from being in the love and prevents us from really reclaiming our true self. So there's a lot more to say on this, but for today, I'm going to leave it at, really noticing when we're referring to divinity outside of ourselves, and then bringing our awareness back into our hearts, reclaiming the love that we are and that you are. Thank you, and blessings.